He conquered Europe, defeated armies, and crowned himself emperor. But there was one enemy Napoleon Bonaparte never saw coming: a vicious, coordinated ambush by a horde of rabbits. Yes, actual rabbits. This isn't a joke, it's a true story. Welcome back to Across History. Today you're about to hear how a victorious leader nearly got overwhelmed by a horde of fluff. Let's jump in. By the end of this video, you'll know why Napoleon forced those present to stay silent about this episode, at least for many years. Context: Napoleon after Tilsit. To understand why this happened, we need to set the scene in July 1807. Napoleon had just signed the treaties of Tilsit with Russia and Prussia, which ended the War of the Fourth Coalition. Flush with success and wanting to celebrate, Napoleon decided to hold a rabbit hunt for himself and his entourage. He tasked his chief of staff, Alexandre Berthier, to organize the event, including rounding up rabbits from local farmers. The plan was simple: release the rabbits, then have a hunt. The expectation was wild rabbits would run away, and the hunt would proceed in a normal fashion. The hunt begins, and everything goes wrong. On the day of the hunt, Berthier had collected somewhere between a few hundred and up to 3,000 rabbits, sources vary. These rabbits were not wild hares, but domesticated rabbits purchased from farmers. This detail is crucial. As soon as the cages were opened, the rabbits did not flee. Instead, they charged straight toward Napoleon and his party, expecting food, not fearing humans. Initially, many laughed at the absurdity. Seeing rabbits swarm toward people is amusing, until they don't stop. The rabbits began climbing onto legs and clothes, nibbling at boots and buttons. The men tried to beat them off with sticks, whips, riding crops, but nothing worked. Napoleon attempted to defend himself, but found it hard to aim his weapon amid the chaos. Eventually, he retreated to his carriage. Reports say the rabbits flanked him in two wings, left and right, and some even made it into the carriage. The attack continued until Napoleon and his party fled the scene in their carriage, still pursued by rabbits. Why did this happen? Tame, not wild rabbits. Because they were domesticated, these rabbits did not instinctively flee humans. Instead, they saw humans as a source of food. Wild hares, in contrast, would likely have scattered, making the hunt feasible. Hunger plus anticipation. The rabbits apparently had gone without food that day, making them more desperate and bold in seeking humans. Their behavior suggests that they saw Napoleon's party as potential feeders. Poor planning, underestimating risk. Berthier and his team may have not understood rabbit behavior or the difference between wild and tame animals. Releasing so many at once created a mass, overwhelming force of animals. The timing and location may have favored the rabbit's ability to close in. The nature of group behavior. In large numbers, even timid animals can overwhelm when they act en masse. Their coordinated flanking suggests more than random scattering. Some sources even poetically claim they divided into two wings. Eyewitness account, Baron Thiébault. Baron Paul Charles, François Thiébault, was one of the officers present. In his memoirs, he describes the incident in vivid detail. He wrote that the rabbits piled themselves up between his legs till they made him stagger and forced the conqueror to retreat and leave them in possession of the field. Thiébault's account is often cited as the most detailed primary source. Aftermath and impact. The damage was mostly to Napoleon's pride rather than his safety. The rabbits caused scratches and panic, but no serious injuries. Napoleon was reportedly embarrassed and made those present promise to keep silent about the event until after his death. Interestingly, years later, when Napoleon accidentally shot one of his marshals during a different hunt, he blamed Berthier, possibly in part due to the earlier humiliation. The story didn't enter mainstream historical narratives until much later, partly because it conflicted with Napoleon's carefully curated image. To many, this incident is a humorous footnote, but it also reveals something about planning, hubris, and how even great leaders can be undone by small oversights. Lessons and reflection. Lesson 1. Know your enemy or adversary. Underestimating even the most seemingly harmless force, in this case rabbits, can backfire. Lesson 2. Details matter. The difference between wild and tame rabbits, timing, hunger, small decisions led to chaos. Lesson 3. Reputation and image. Napoleon was highly sensitive about his image. This event threatened to damage the narrative of invincibility. Lesson 4. Human versus animal behavior. The story is a reminder that nature doesn't always conform to our expectations. Lesson 5. The power of narrative. Because the incident was suppressed and later retold, we see how stories in history are shaped by what's allowed to be told. And that, dear viewers, is the bizarre tale of how Napoleon, conqueror of Europe, was once bested by a horde of bunnies. It's a reminder that history is full of strange surprises, and that even the greatest figures had their awkward moments. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into most surprising episodes from history. In the comments, tell me, which historical embarrassment would you like me to cover next? Thanks for watching Across History. Until next time, keep exploring the past.